Jason,
Yeah.
it's time to raise the dead.
Okay,
Yes,
we can do that.
it's time to raise the dead. We got the Undertaker Cabernet Sauvignon.
This.
Yes.
Taker.
This is another WWE issued wine in commemoration with the Undertaker and his retirement at the Survivor Series last year, which, by the way, was.
Are you sure?
Kinda
Are you sure?
disappointing.
Are you sure though? All
Am I
right.
sure?
Yeah. You know how it goes. Three-time retirements. Blah blah blah.
Listen,
blah,
the Undertaker's the greatest of all time, so we have to have him on the show today.
Let's do it.
Of course. All right, listen, Jason, everything that we talked about the Ultimate Warrior wine, this is going to be pretty much the same premise, okay? The grapes that they actually use is a deep blue grape that has a thick skin. It sits on hardy vines. But I want you to tell everybody about the difference between a Zinfandel and a Cabernet Sauvignon. What is the alcohol content in this wine?
This one here is about 14.7 for about 14.5%. It's a little bit mild, but I could say it's soothing.
Mild?
Yeah, it's mild.
14.7 is mild? You're speaking my language with 14.7.
Well, in my book, I would say that it's 14 point whatever. Is let's just drink it.
Listen.
That's
Pour
what I'm
it.
thinking.
Pour it. This is about the Undertaker. We're celebrating his retirement last year.
This is the 30th anniversary bottle right here. Let's see what
They actually came out with this.
Ooh.
Everything about the Ultimate Warrior wine is the same thing with the Undertaker wine. Developed by the same people, made by the same people. And the Undertaker actually retired,
again,
quote unquote,
okay,
for the 8th time. And I use that very loosely.
I thought he left it all in the ring.
He did leave it at the ring.
33?
33.
And then
Should have
again.
been his retirement. Cheers.
The dead man said, rest in peace.
I'll tell you what. This compared to the Ultimate Warrior one, this is a lot drier, which is more of my taste palette. I definitely taste the same type of texture with the berries and the fruitiness, the tart.
It's very tart.
I see that coming through for sure.
Yeah,
This is more my style. This is the type of wine that I like. Normally, I'm a white wine drinker. I like a Sauvignon Blanc, but this is right up my alley as far as like the texture of it.
I gotta go again. This hardiness is very potent.
I would say it's a little bit more full body than the Ultimate Warrior one as well.
Well, if you speak in full body, we're talking about digging holes and taking souls, brother.
Full body career for sure. 30 years for the
30
Undertaker.
years.
Listen, we talked about the Ultimate Warrior before in correlation with the Undertaker. The Undertaker, to me, if I was to name a top 1 and 2 in the industry, as far as my personal opinion goes, it's going to be the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Those are my number 1 and 2. And as far as the Undertaker goes as career, greatest big man in the business.
Hell
I would
yeah.
say.
Hell yeah, without a doubt.
And his greatest feud, you know, a lot of people are going to say Shawn Michaels. His favorite, I would say his favorite match as well would probably be Shawn Michaels, but at WrestleMania 25. My favorite match was Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, WrestleMania 25, but Undertaker, Mankind was my favorite feud in his entire career. A lot of people say Shawn Michaels, a lot of people say Kane. Mankind brought out the best in the Undertaker.
97?
That entire period. Leading up to that big Hell in a Cell match at King of the Ring.
Get the hell off the cage.
Yes. I mean, if there's one match that I rewatch back multiple times every single year, it's that match.
Definition of testicular fortitude.
Yeah.
Tooth through the nose.
It kind of solidified the Attitude Era as well.
It
like,
did.
Like, you can't get more attitude than
It
somebody
totally did.
jumping off a 20-foot
I mean, you can't really script
You know?
it because he pushed the throttle on it. Mankind, Mick Foley. Woo! Talk about testicular fortitude. Who the hell is gonna say, okay, toss me off this cage, let me separate my shoulder, get off the EMT's gurney.
Have a tooth go through your nose because he got chokeslammed through the cage on top of the
Tongue
steel chair.
cut, everything, he's feeling the numbers.
Terry Funk got chokeslammed out of his shoes.
That was hilarious. That was like some hood shit right there. Like, yo, son, square up, I'm gonna knock your shoes off.
He didn't really get chokeslammed out of his shoes, but he kind of like squirmed around when he tried to get his shoe
Get your
off.
grandfather off the set, all right? Get him off the set.
It was so great.
Undertaker was like, yo, hold up. Who the hell is
It just made everything so much better.
That whole thing was a disaster, but it was so beautiful. It was beautiful art. I mean, since you spoke of Shawn Michaels and the greatest match probably that the Undertaker's had, what about Bad Blood? What about when they had the Hell in a Cell? What do you think about that?
It was revolutionary.
It
I would say, because I think at that time when we were watching it, nobody ever did anything like that before. The whole concept of the cell was so much different than anything else. I know WCW had their War Games type. It was almost a take on War Games, I would say, but not the same kind of concept.
Just like you
WWE
said,
made it their own.
Yeah, they did, because they pushed the throttle,
Yeah.
especially when it came to the stunts. WCW's ceiling was a little bit lower.
Yeah.
The most viciousness that I could see in that War Games was, besides the cuttings, was Sid Vicious powerbombing Brian Pillman and that botched spot. But this wasn't actually botched spots. This was freaking brutalism that was going on. It was brutality. It was just crazy. How Mick Foley could get the gall to say, "Throw me off," and Jim Ross saying, "Oh," he did the backtrack.
Everything, man. JR was on top of his game at that point. Shawn Michaels, going back to the Bad Blood, Hell in a Cell match. Him falling off the cage, which is still mimicked today. I know Drew McIntyre did it against Randy Orton. I mean, they all mimic it, so it's like a revolutionary moment that everybody goes back to. Kane's debut, which is the greatest debut in WWE history, I think, in that, where he ripped off the door and just stood there with the Undertaker. I mean, I don't think anybody really embodied what a monster, mythical heel should be. I'm going to mention Matanza from Lucha Underground. I mean, that itself, that's speaking a different fucking language, really, to be honest with you. Nobody really realizes how great that character was in Lucha Underground, but I kind of embody Kane in that same vibe.
Kane laid down the ground rules. If you're going to be a monster, this is how you should be.
Of course. And sticking with the wrestling talk here, the Undertaker Shawn Michaels feud, it was pretty much embodied by that SummerSlam match in New Jersey with Bret Hart, where it was Shawn Michaels being the special guest referee against, Bret Hart, it was Bret Hart, Undertaker. Steel chair to Undertaker's face.
I'm so in sync with that moment.
Bro, I could sit here and talk about this for another 20 minutes. The greatest finish to any WWF championship match of all time was that match.
The F.
Yeah, the F.
The F. Hold on, look. I need more Undertaker in my life.
The greatest ending to a WWF championship match of all time was Shawn Michaels hitting the Undertaker inadvertently with a steel chair, giving Bret Hart the WWE title in New Jersey.
The fucking spit.
Solidifying his heel turn.
The spit was just
which
dripping
set
down
up
his face.
the Attitude Era, which set up the Undertaker Shawn Michaels feud for as long as we've seen it.
Listen, hosting aside, all of this professional, I would have caught a body that day. There's no way that a man is gonna spit in my face. And damn, talk about professionalism in every aspect.
And then they ended up at the Royal Rumble in the final two spot. And then Undertaker won the Royal Rumble. I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, that is the greatest to me. No matter what the Undertaker did, that moment, his later career was the pinnacle.
And then the introduction of Kane, when we go back to the introduction of Kane, and then what transcended into the Inferno match because of the feud. Wow.
You want me to take it back further?
Dude, I'm so with it.
Talk about the casket match with Yokozuna.
The Yoko.
Bro, I mean, I watched the Yokozuna documentary on the WWE Network, and I seen his story. And that casket match, bro, listen, I had a live stream on Twitch, and people were like, man, why are you watching this match? I mean, this is a quintessential Royal Rumble moment. This is a quintessential Yoko and Undertaker moment. That is the greatest casket match of all time. Mr. Fuji strategically bringing out every single heel in WWF at the time to bury The Undertaker. I mean, you can't get any better than that, because The Undertaker didn't expect that. Paul Bearer didn't expect that.
Kudos to Mr. Fuji for being one of the greatest.
One of the greatest managers of all time.
Listen, the salt in the face, you gotta have to hold that, all right? Yeah, you're gonna have to hold that, because I remember when he threw it in Bret's face, and I was just like, this guy.
You're bringing me back to memories I don't want to remember. When Hogan came, come on.
Oh, come on, dude. But that coincides with Undertaker's 30-year career, on how many different facets of paths that he crossed. You talk about all your greats; they all had to go through the Undertaker.
You talk about evolutionary. Look at all the garbage he went through in his early career. Like, they put him against Giant Gonzalez. They put him against Kamala was great. But like
DQ.
It's quintessential big man, right? They put him against Gonzalez. They put him against who else they put him against? Khali, right? Khali, really? And then he
clotheslined
got
him in the Rumble.
it's like a wine. It's so funny that they made an Undertaker wine. He got better with age. You know, his career was better with age.
You're totally right. You're totally right. He took every hand that was dealt, and he made it better than what it was.
Yeah.
Kudos to the Taker. Kudos to the Taker.
Greatest of all time, my number one. And Jason's pouring himself
a third one because
third.
I'm coming from the graveyard, brother.
Let's raise the dead, bro. Why not?
We'll be back shortly. We'll talk about one more match, and we're gonna call it a wrap.
Now, Jason, you said that you wanted to mention one more match about The Undertaker, and I think I know what you're talking about because it's one of my most iconic moments, not only in Undertaker's career, but in WWE history.
Yeah, Undertaker Hogan.
Yeah.
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 Why not?
Survivor Series 91.
91, yeah.
Yeah.
Key year. Let's do it.
I mean, he wrestled Hogan at the Survivor Series in the main event of that show. And it was his first big break with him winning the WWF title at the time. The entire Ric Flair incident that happened, the tombstone on the chair, Bobby Heenan on commentary, always saying Hulkamania is dead, which was one of my favorite things that Bobby Heenan always did.
Thank you, Bobby.
You know, and The Undertaker, the most iconic moment in the entire match, I remember on the match and him winning the title, The Undertaker dragging the title like it was a dead corpse. That was the greatest thing I've ever seen. As a child growing up, I'm like, yes, Hogan lost the title finally.
But Hogan shaking.
And then
He was doing the shaking.
Well, and then they had Tuesday in Texas, and then that led to the Royal Rumble in '92, which is the greatest Royal Rumble of all time, by the way.
92?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was even when Flair said it in the promo.
Yeah.
The greatest moment of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hogan, you're gonna have to eat the chair and the tombstone at the same time.
But as far as the Undertaker's career goes, that moment to you, like do you remember where you were during that moment, or what you were doing at that
It
time?
all resonates back to Abuela's living room. Big TV, little TV on top. It was a family tradition. Every year, every pay-per-view.
Now, I'm not sure if I got this from you in the Ultimate. We talked about Warrior and Hogan during the Warrior episode. Like, were you a big Hogan guy?
Definitely
Not really.
I was a Warrior guy.
So you were like me when Hogan lost that title to the Undertaker. You were like, yes, finally.
I was. Because to be honest, I was paying attention more to Bret Hart and Undertaker.
Yeah.
Undertaker's work, being that he was the fresh guy coming in, and I seen his work with Warrior and the body bag match. I was actually there in the Garden, but watching this character who's just larger than life, you know, implicating the meanings of death, digging holes, taking souls. This was literally when he was doing that. Paul Bearer. It was a culmination of everything that was just coming together.
To see his career blossom the way it did, would you say that The Undertaker's career and the character itself was Vince McMahon's greatest creation? I know a lot of people say WrestleMania is his greatest creation, but to me, always, it's going to be The Undertaker.
Yeah, I would have to say Undertaker because of the longevity.
Yeah.
The longevity. I know WrestleMania seems to be a great spectacle and all, but who the hell is going to come to the spectacle if you don't have a character that makes it mean extra, that extra oomph? And it always resonates with Undertaker.
We're going to end it with this, folks. The streak. The streak.
Okay.
2 questions for you.
Go ahead.
Should it have been broken? And if you had to choose somebody else besides Brock that broke the streak, who would it be? I'll give you my quick answer.
Do it.
No. And if it was to be broken, Shawn Michaels should have did it at 25.
Wow. I would have to agree with you on no. I don't think the streak should have been broken. And 2, if it was broken, it should have been somebody that was on the come up. Somebody younger.
Like?
Let's see. You had 2010, 2011. Hell, I even think at what is it, 28 or 29? That was in New York, WrestleMania. I think Punk should have broke it. I think Punk should have been one of the guys.
Punk should have broke it.
Punk should have broke it. He was so antagonizing with the freaking urn.
Listen, man, Punk's one of my favorite of all time, but
You're talking about a promo, bro, that's gonna tell a story.
no.
Phil, you could have did it.
He doesn't have any like mainstay in the WWE like lineage right now.
Of course, because of the.
Imagine him breaking the streak and then leaving for 8 years.
Well, imagine him breaking the streak and staying put. That's a whole
But he wouldn't
nother.
have stayed put. He would have been fired with his wife on his wedding day.
You think?
Yeah.
I think if he was.
Really.
Wow. Listen,
I love Punk, man. I love Punk.
Listen, I think if Phil.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, Punk Omega in AEW for the world title.
Wow, he's calling.
Best of all time, I'm calling it right now.
He's.
Needs to happen. Tony, make it happen.
Tony. All right, listen. I think in regards, if Punk would have broke the streak, he would have been in the highest regards. He would have been like, okay, now you're going to be in the next year's main event. You're going to be the guy.
Yeah.
But we know what happened. That was just how I was feeling in that moment.
Yeah.
I thought promo-wise and getting Paul Bearer involved because of his passing, rest in peace,
Yep.
Paul Bearer. I thought it could have been a go. He could have been the closest one to do it. But, throughout the years, we've seen how it played out. Either way, still the greatest career in WWE history.
My number one.
Number one guy, Taker.
You know what's number one?
What's that?
This show.
The show?
This show.
The freaking CNC, brother.
See you guys in episode number 8. Close the season out. See you guys later.
Peace.